Madeleine Vionnet founded her couture house in 1912 and flourished for 2 short years before the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. After the war, Vionnet reopened for business, where the popularity of her designs grew rapidly. The demand and the popularity of the fluid Grecian shapes continued to rise. The house soon moved to larger headquarters, where the workforce totaled 1,200. Vionnet retired in 1939, closing the doors of the couture house at the declaration of the Second World War. Although only a short-lived career, Madame Vionnet contributed greatly to the early 20th century fashion, including the bias cut, halter necks, and simple organic shapes that did not require restrictive fastenings and fussy undergarments. Vionnet formerly trained under the formidable couture house the Calottes before founding her own house. At the Calottes, Madame Gerber draped her fabric on a live mannequin, gathering ideas and dictating the details to the head seamstress. Vionnet's role as head seamstress would have been to understand the vision being worked through on the mannequin, noting the details and then drafting the draped idea into a formal pattern, ready to be cut and finished. It is logical that Vionnet used both drafting and draping methods in interpreting Madame Gerber's designs and honed her skills in the process, and later in forming her own work. Vionnet's designs are beautiful, but most importantly fluid. The bias cut allowed the fabric to drape against the body and move with it freely, not restricting the natural form. Madame Vionnet believed that, when a woman smiles, then her dress should smile too. Vionnet was greatly inspired by ancient Greek art in which garments appear to float freely around the body. The inspiration can be noted in the way in which the clothing was photographed. The models appear weightless, and the material delicately drapes around their bodies. Fluid movements create dramatic ripples and waves in the satin fabric. The relationship between the artist and the mannequin, and how the mannequin informs the final design, was very prevalent in Vionnet's garments. Working on a small-scale mannequin allowed the fabric to be reworked over and over again. The apparently simple style involved a lengthy preparation process. Smaller measurements of fine fabric were used as it was less wasteful and less costly. This is reflected in the full-scale garments as more rich and luxurious materials were used, from crepe de chine, gabardine, and satin. The direct relationship of the artist working on a smaller-scale mannequin and the effect that it has on the final design can be seen, as Vionnet commissioned fabric to be made almost 2 meters wider than the fabric currently on offer to her. The process of draping on a small mannequin did not affect the width or the length of material. But when the designs were scaled up to life size, the width of material became more problematic. The current width of fabric available would have required Vionnet to include more seam lines to achieve the desired length of bias cut fabric. Each seam line placed in the fabric will alter how it sits and hangs on the body. It will also make the draping stiffer. The less seams used when draping, a smoother and more fluid design can be created. Vionnet's use of bias cut fabric and her method of draping was greatly informed by her relationship to the mannequin.